In this video, we're going to once again think about problems. But this time we're going to analyze the problems to identify the essential elements and components and features of those problems. So essential here means the absolute necessary, the ones that are indispensable. So we get a full picture of that problem. And notice we're analyzing the problem, but we're not analyzing the solution, although you look at a solution later on to get an idea of what we're looking for before we do the actual analysis forward looking on the problem. And the reason we want to do this, we want to get a complete picture of the problem in generally a hierarchical fashion. Okay, because you'll notice and see shortly that elements and components and features form a hierarchy. And if we kind of break it down to its smallest elements and we start to solve those, then through solving those and putting all those pieces back together, you actually, at the end of the day, understand the problem and have an idea of where the solution could come from. So we're not actually going to define what's the solution. We're really defining what needs to be in the solution, which are two slightly different things. So before we begin, we need to define the parts of a problem. So when we define the problem, we need to identify the pieces of the jigsaw, the main elements or components of the problem, and also the information that is needed to have a better understanding of and eventually solve that problem. So this involves stating what would be needed to be solved in the solution of the problem, but it's not saying how to solve it, okay? We're not saying the solution will have this, the solution will have that. We're going to talk in generalities. We're not going to, at this point in the process, think about exactly the implementation of that to get a solution. That's a problem for the future. We're just trying to work out generally what needs to exist, not the form that will take. So when we define a problem, we decompose it into its features, its components, and its elements. So what do these mean? Well, features are prominent or conspicuous elements, components or characteristics of a structured whole. So components is probably a bad word to use there. But the features are the big things. Okay? They're the parts of the thing you say, my system has this feature. It does this. Or it generates this type of thing. It doesn't really go into the detail about how that does that or exactly what that looks like. It's a feature. Okay, it's like saying I've got a fast car. I don't in reality, but just say I did. And a feature of the car is that it has amazing acceleration. So that's a feature. It doesn't really tell me a lot about it. It doesn't tell me how fast the acceleration is or how fast it goes or any of the details about it. It just is a feature. It's got acceleration that is theoretically amazing. So features are kind of like a top-level view from a different domain or area of the problem. So components are the different pieces that make up the features. So just say I was making an application and it had some type of feature where I could message other people. Okay, so that would be the feature. Now that feature would have certain components. It would have parts where I can type in a message, parts where the message shows up on the screen. They would be the components that make up that feature. Then we can go down further again and we can talk about elements. And elements are the smallest pieces. They're all the different constituent parts of a more complex whole. They're the fundamental. They're essentially, you can't break down an element any smaller. So think about this on the screen. You might have some type of interface, sending messages. Part of the one component of sending a message is where people type. In that, there would be an input box. I can't break down the input box anymore. Maybe I could say there's a placeholder text in it, but I can't break it down anymore. But the messaging part would also have another element, which is the send button. And another element, which is the insert the emoji button. They're all little individual elements, but put them together and suddenly I can type a message, add an emoji, and send it. And that's a component of the feature where I can send messages and show them on the screen. So you can see that there's a layer here. When we combine two or more elements, then we kind of define it as a component.